Well, my mellow fellas, or should I say my murderous mistresses, the Powerpuff Girls was such a unique show with a lot of interesting characters, and I was obsessed with it when I was a kid. As much as I love the Powerpuff Girls themselves, the villains really brought the show to life for me. From evildoers like Mojo Jojo, Princess, the Gang Green Gang, the Aniba Boys, and of course a lot of our personal favorites, him. And while I love all of them for many different reasons, there was one baddie who stood out to me. A woman who didn't accomplish things by building giant death machines or using money to buy herself powers. No. Instead, she used her wits to manipulate, gaslight, and dominate men into submission. Because why mess up your hair fighting the Powerpuff Girls when you can get desperate guys to do the dirty work for you? Of course, I am talking about our villainous girl, Sedusa. Ever since I was a little girl, I loved her as a villain. Now obviously the seduction part of her character flew straight over my head. I just saw a pretty girl with a cute outfit using her deception and manipulation to get what she wants. And usually she wants jewels and artifacts, with a side of power. Sedusa was very different than a lot of the other villains on the show. She wasn't the type to needlessly get in trouble for juvenile crimes like the Gang Green Gang, nor was she the type to flaunt her powers like Morbugs, or constantly try to take over the world like Mojo Jojo. Instead, Sedusa was calculating and smart. She would find her target, embed herself into their lives, gain their trust, and eventually use that trust to her advantage. And after that, it was only a matter of time before she struck and robs you blind, leaving you heartbroken, sad, and penniless. She plans, she psychologically manipulates, and boom, she attacks. The precision, the dedication, the patience, and the callousness are what truly elevate her above the average bank robber. Honestly, it's poetry in motion. The only other villain who puts that level of thought into their evil schemes is him. Leave it to the girls and the gays to make evil into an art form. They don't just rob banks, they engage in psychological warfare for fun and to ruin lives. If you're not mentally scarring your enemies, are you really that evil? Like Mojo Jojo was pretty damn evil, but for the most part, his plans are straightforward, you know? Whereas people like him and Sedusa really get into your head. So today I thought it would be fun to go through Sedusa's timeline on the show. She wasn't in a ton of episodes, but the few episodes she did were some of my favorites. So sit back, relax, and let's braid each other's hair while we talk about the Femme Fatale of Townsville, Sedusa. Sedusa premiered in season 1, episode 1, Mommy Dearest. Yep, she is the definition of an OG villain. The episode starts with Professor Utonium being a good dad as always. He got the girls ready for bed and made sure Bubbles was comfortable before heading off to bed himself. We then see while he was happy being a father, he's rather lonely in the romantic department. Poor man was dragging his entire body to bed. He was depressed. Later, the professor and the girls were out grocery shopping as usual. It wasn't until they accidentally bumped into a lady. She introduced herself as Mrs. Good Lady. Full name, Mrs. I'm a Good Lady. Super subtle, super trustworthy. And what I remember most about her as a kid was those huge eyes of hers. She looked like a big ass bug. The girls have an excuse for their bug eyes though, they are lab grown kids. It is not their fault. Anyways, the girls introduce themselves as the Powerpuff Girls, and she replies saying that she knows exactly who they are, which in fairness isn't very suspicious because they are very famous heroes in the town. Everybody knows the Powerpuff Girls, but you know that it's nefarious because it's her, you know? She then asks about the professor, who is kind of bumbling right now. Buttercup introduces him, Bubbles lets her know that he's single, and Blossom politely sets up a date between them. Buttercup was trying to be subtle, but Bubbles was not having it at all. Blossom was the MVP though.
He's the professor. Hey, single, Bubbles. What they mean to say is perhaps if you're not too busy, maybe he could take you out?
Why, that'd be splendid.
The girls set a date, and Mrs. Good Lady picks Friday at 7, while the professor is still stumbling like a fool.
Boy, that professor is one smooth operator.
It's the big night. The girls help the professor get ready for his date. Hair, cologne, suit, everything. He looks good.
I found your bow! Oh, it looks so lovely. Bubbles, it's a bow tie and it goes down here, see? Oh, I guess that looks good too.
While he's gone, the mayor is babysitting for the evening, which I don't see why not. He's not really doing any work anyways. Though I will say I think Mojo Jojo did a better job babysitting than he did. The mayor just slept the whole time, while Mojo Jojo made them sushi and dealt with their bratty behavior. Anyways, after their first date, Tell me why the professor tells the girls that he has a surprise. He decided to let a woman he does not know come into that house and help out for a while. The girls were rightfully confused. This was only their first date, and he's already bringing her home to live with them.
The fam ain't eating cheddar biscuits, but this random broad is eating cheddar biscuits.
Ima offered to explain things to the girls, and the professor agreed, saying he's at her command. The only command I recognize is Commander Riker, okay? And let me clarify, Sedusa doesn't have mind-controlling powers. He's not literally at her command. He's just that down bad right now. He's that sprung on her. Anyways, he leaves this grown stranger to let her talk to his kids like they aren't his children. And as you could guess, here comes the Dr. Jackal and Mr. High routine. She explained that the professor is busy, so she's here to offer some help around the house and provide a woman's touch. Blossom points out that they don't need help. They're the Powerpuff Girls, and this flips a switch within her.
And it is that kind of attitude that is going to change around here.
Uh-oh, something is amiss. Or maybe even soon, a Mrs.
Yeah, it's giving evil stepmother.
Christina! Christina's gone.
After this, her tyrannical rule begins.
And just where do you think you're going?
We're going to fight crime. That's what we do. Duh.
Not today, you don't.
She stops them from going out fighting crime and made them stay home and clean instead. And when they did it too fast for her liking, she re-trashed the place and made them clean it up without the use of their powers. In fact, she forbid them to use their powers in general.
From now on, you are forbidden to use your superpowers! You will do things like normal little girls!
She was on one this episode, doing entirely too much. Later in the day, the professor was going to let them watch TV for the evening, but Ima suggested they just go to bed. Her excuse was that they're growing girls who need their rest. And of course, the professor folded like a damn lawn chair and agreed with her.
Growing girls do need their rest, don't they?
Well,
But Professor!
Well, if Ima thinks it's time for bed, then I'll have to agree with her.
Like, who is she? She just got here and she already has so much power. Like, you're not even married, dude. That is your 2-day girlfriend. And you're letting her dictate what you do with your kids. Like, please be so astronomically for real. Not only did they get sent to bed early, but she snatched Bubbles' doll and made her sleep in the dark.
And growing girls don't play with stupid dolls. Now, good night.
She was really putting the girls through it. The girls complained about how horrible this woman was. The girls were very suspicious of her and obviously did not like her. Buttercup especially found her suspicious. And best believe if she wasn't their dad's girlfriend, they would have beat her up by now. You know how the Powerpuff Girls roll. The girls were sick of her and her insane rules, so they finally decided to rebel. The girls snuck out to fight crime, but they were caught by Ima trying to sneak back in, which I don't know why they didn't just sneak back into their windows, but you know, whatever.
And just where have you three been? Well?
She interrogated them about where they'd been, and they straight up told her that they've been fighting crime.
We were out fighting crime. That's what we do. Duh.
She was furious and immediately grounded them for disobeying her. The professor's late ass came downstairs asking what was going on. And of course, Ima put on a whole Shakespearean play saying how she was worried when she saw that they were gone. She was even crying and saying how disrespected she felt by them. And to add the cherry on top, she fainted in his arms like the drama queen she is.
Oh, I was so worried. They purposefully disrespected me. Oh, I just want to be good to them. So I punish them. I just, oh.
Miss Girl needs an Oscar for those award-winning tears. Without even asking his children for their side of the story or seeing why they may have felt this way, he believes Ima and scolds them for their misbehavior. He does the unthinkable and grounds them for the first time in their life.
But.
No buts. You're grounded.
I always found that dramatic blue post so funny. She's really selling the drama. And he's eating it up, not gonna lie. The professor is just the perfect victim for this scheme because, oh my god, he believed every word out of her mouth. Like, damn, is it that good? Even the narrator freaks out about the heroes being grounded, because if they're grounded, who's going to protect Townsville? And if you say the police, please be so serious. This is a serious discussion about a 20-year-old cartoon. Please take this seriously. You know that everyone in this town is useless besides the Powerpuff Girls. They even had an episode about the Powerpuff Girls going on strike because of how useless the town is. Anyways, while the narrator was spiraling, he stops and notices something strange.
What kind of crimes will go unpunished? What evil will befall Townsville? And just where the heck is she off to?
The mayor calls the Powerpuff Girls and asks for help. Currently, Sedusa was robbing his safe just right in front of him. She didn't even try to hide it.
Well, you picked a fine night to be grounded. Sedusa is robbing my safe of its jewels as we speak. Hey, put those back.
Ain't no security up in here. She just walked in and just started stealing right in front of him. Like, hello, that's a witness, Sedusa. This was Blossom's light bulb moment. She finally figured out what was going on. She promised to catch Sedusa once she gets home. Later, we see Ima sneaking back into the house with a full bag of jewels, looking hella guilty. And just like she caught them sneaking in, this time they caught her. They finally confronted her, and this time it was them who was in charge.
And just where have you been? Well, Miss Good Lady.
I thought I grounded you brats!
Bubbles snatched her wig off, and oh my god, it's actually Sedusa. Who could have seen that coming? I bet you guys are like so shocked right now. Bubbles made her spill her bag of jewels, and the girls have undeniable proof that she is a no-good lying thief. But Sedusa still believed that she can sweet talk her way out of this with the professor, and he'd take her side over theirs.
I'll just sweet talk that sap of the professor. He'll believe me, and you three bug-eyed creeps will be grounded forever!
Ground this!
Bubble wasn't trying to hear any of that talking. She went straight to violence. And in true Powerpuff Girl fashion, they jumped the hell out of her. At first, it seemed like she was trying to hold her own, but they started giving her the business. They beat her ass. They turned her every which way but loose, child. Oh my god. But it was well deserved. She deserved it. Cause hello, she's been mistreating them the entire episode. This was warranted. She deserved every bit of this. The professor came in and saw his girlfriend's hair getting pulled from her scalp, her face getting punched in, and her leg getting chewed off all at the same time. Sedusa tried to sob story her way out of this and say the girls just went crazy on her, lying her ass off again.
The girls just went crazy and jumped me when I came home.
No, Professor, it's not true. She's really Sedusa, and she grounded us so she could make off with the mayor's jewels.
Liars!
The girls called her out and told the professor the truth. Sedusa called them liars and tried to beg the professor to believe her. She reached out for him for help, and he thinks for a moment. Does he believe his children, or does he believe this random woman he met a couple days ago? He takes her hand, seemingly to have chosen her. But in the end, he believed his children.
Girls, call the police. This crook isn't going to deceive us anymore.
I know this is a sweet moment and all, but I would have said, who's we? She didn't deceive anybody but the professor. They've been complaining about her, but he was too lost in the sauce to listen to them. It wasn't like he was hypnotized or anything. He was just so lonely and so desperate to keep her that he believed everything she told him, and even at the expense of his own children. They were so traumatized by this incident that even seeing the professor fall for another woman at the door put them on red alert. They nipped that in the bud immediately. He doesn't get to date for a long time after this, because I wouldn't trust him either. He ain't got no discernment apparently. And that's why Sedusa is so powerful. There was no potion, there was no hypnosis, there was no mind control. Sedusa strategically picked her prey, honed in on his weakness, and masterfully manipulated him against his very own children. And the only reason she was caught was because she got cocky and overconfident. But this was still a feat within itself. She was able to perfectly disguise herself as the ideal woman and embedded herself into his life and into his brain. She seamlessly infiltrated his home, took control over his house, and in a way took control over the professor. This wasn't just another evil plot to steal jewels. She could have just stole the jewels at any time if that was the case. This was just as much about torturing the Powerpuff Girls by making their lives miserable and turning someone they love against them. She didn't just want the jewels, she wanted to crush the Powerpuff Girls from the inside out. To Sedusa, the psychological warfare was just as fun as getting rich. And that's what makes her so uniquely evil. And that's what makes her so fun as a character. That extra layer of cruelty makes her stand out against a lot of her peers. And that's only her first appearance in the show. And the next one we're about to talk about is one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. Something is Amiss. Like I said, this episode was my favorite as a kid. I was a huge Powerpuff Girl fan. I had a couple of DVDs of the show, and this episode was always so much fun for me to watch. But looking back on this episode, I realized how wild and out of pocket it was. I remember this episode so vividly, but as a kid, I didn't get the full context of what happened until I watched it as an adult. So let's get into it. We open the episode to the mayor using what looks like a CD on a vinyl player and grooving to the music. He decided to take a break from pretending to run Townsville for a little while. It's so hard pretending to be qualified, you know? Anyways, here comes Miss Bellum with all of her hair on her neck for some reason. She sits next to him on the couch and applies a little bit of lipstick. She also sticks her balloons in his face to get his attention. She tries to get his attention, but the mayor is so oblivious as usual.
The glass of water will clear that right up.
She was obviously trying to cozy up to him. By the way, when I was a kid, I actually thought Miss Bellum was his wife. And truthfully, it wasn't my fault. His actual wife looks like his sister, and he hardly even likes her. I remember there was this one episode where he literally told criminals to take his wife instead.
Take anything you want. Just don't hurt Miss Bellum.
Miss Bellum, huh? What do you say I call you Sweet Cheeks?
Oh, call me anything you want, but just rob me and go away. Take my money, some fine art maybe, my wife, jewels perhaps, the key to the city, my wife.
He's one of those husbands. You know, the ones who hate their wives. She turns off his vinyl and pulls him in close against her. The mayor then asks if there was something she wanted to talk about, and there actually was something. She asked for the rest of the day off, and the mayor freaked out. If you don't know anything about Powerpuff Girl lore, this man is a fraud. He doesn't know a single thing outside of pickles.
Ah, my life is a lie. Oh, good night.
Miss Bellum is the person actually running Townsville. The mayor is simply not smart enough to do so. So I could see why he would freak out at this, because he would actually have to do some of his job for once. But with the little kiss on the nose, he caves instantly and she was granted the day off. She leaves and he just sits there literally all day until nighttime. He waited all the way until she got back and asked if she was back for more. Boy, go home to your wife, oh my god. Anyway, she came back yelling that she had to call the Powerpuff Girls. There's been a robbery at the Townsville bank, which is nothing new, they're always getting robbed. That's like an everyday occurrence, but you know, today is special because she was there. The girls went to investigate, but they weren't able to find a single piece of evidence. They were surprised by how thorough the villain is. Miss Bellum cries to the girls, saying how afraid she was and how she wishes she could have called them sooner. She cries and repeatedly apologizes to them. They were surprised by this big show of emotions, and they tried to comfort her and tell her it wasn't her fault. Miss Bellum is usually much more put together than this. She doesn't let a lot rattle her. So to see her breaking down and crying was just very weird for them because she just doesn't do this. They just thought that she was so traumatized that it made her cry. They tell her to go home and get some rest for now, and they'll finish the investigation. She leaves and we move on to the next day. Miss Bellum pops into the office again and once again sticks the girls out for display. Mind you, this is the kids show and he has a wife. Insane behavior and an insane plot, but I'm loving every minute of it. It's so funny. The mayor snaps both his neck and the pencil in his hand looking at her. He tells her he snapped his pencil and she helps him out with sharpening it in a weirdly erotic way, and he looks very happy about it.
Let me help you with that.
God, man, this flew straight over my head. Who wrote this? Come to the front and lock him up, because this had no business being in this show. The mayor asks again if there was something on her mind, and once again she asks for the rest of the day off. Instead of being shocked like yesterday, he seems to be happy she asks. Again, he says he doesn't know, but obviously he's expecting a little more convincing. And again, she kisses his nose. He says okay, and she took the rest of the day off. And the mayor stays there in that exact spot for the rest of the day, ain't doing his job or doing much of anything, honestly. Once again, she burst in yelling about some jewelry store being robbed, and once again there weren't any clues left behind. Blossom suggested that it's probably the same person, yet Bubbles felt lucky Miss Bellum was around to see something. But once again, Miss Bellum breaks down in tears, claiming that she feels so unlucky and cries once again. Blossom comforts her and tells her there's nothing she could have done, and again sends her home, and she promptly leaves, quicker than last time.
Why don't you go home and rest?
Thank you, I will.
Again, the next day, Miss Bellum is kissing all over the mayor, and that horn dog gave her the entire week off. I'm telling his wife he don't deserve those cookies she be making for him. And of course, it was the museum that was stolen from this time. The next day, the mayor was freshening himself up with cologne and checking his breath, making sure he looked right for his side piece. He waited all day for her, but she didn't come in. I guess he forgot that he gave her the week off. And you know what he said about that?
That woman is so fired.
Like, oh my god, not only is he abusing his position of power and flirting with his assistant as a married man, but he also wants to fire her for taking the time off that he gave her. When I tell you I both screamed in laughter and horror, I don't remember him being this bad of a person as a kid. Like, maturing is realizing how awful the mayor is as a person. He's the true villain of the series, honestly. They try to play him off as like, oh my god, he's so goofy and dumb. Nah, he a villain. He's evil. Anyways, the mayor gets a fax. But before we can see what it is, we check in with the Powerpuff Girls. They were brainstorming trying to figure out which villain is smart enough to not leave evidence behind. Buttercup suggested Mojo Jojo, but Blossom says that it was too well planned out for it to be Mojo Jojo. Which I'm not sure what she means, because Mojo Jojo is absolutely smart enough to plan something out. We've seen him come close to ending the world multiple times with all different types of inventions, but whatever. But I guess Mojo Jojo is the type to leave evidence behind. So I will argue that Mojo Jojo is smart enough to plan something, but he isn't as thorough. He would leave evidence behind. He wouldn't really care to clean up after himself. Buttercup then suggested him, but Blossom said that this was way too trivial for him, which I do agree with. Him isn't the type of villain who wants material gain by robbing things. He's more of an agent of chaos. This isn't his style. Buttercup then suggested the Gangrene Gang, but they're in juvie right now, so which surprises me because I thought they were grown. Apparently they're young enough to be in juvie. And Bubble yells out Fuzzy Lumpkins, who's probably just minding his business and taking his lawn bath. The phone rings and Blossom answers it. The mayor calls them to City Hall. They get there and he's just sitting solemnly in front of the fireplace, reminiscing about his many accomplishments, all fake, and how he was able to do those things without using his brain. He then asks them if they know what makes a man, which is a weird question to ask a bunch of kindergarten girls, but anyways, he said what makes a man is a woman like Miss Sarah Bellum. Not his wife, by the way, his super hot assistant instead. He admits that she's the brains behind the man, and of course we all knew that. That wasn't a secret. This man was in tears over her.
Miss Sarah Bellum, the brains behind the man. Are you surprised by my tears? Strong men also cry. Strong men also cry.
After that dramatic ass speech, he gives the facts over to the girls. It's a ransom asking for millions of dollars in exchange for Miss Bellum, and of course it's signed by our girl Sedusa. The girls were flabbergasted by this reveal and promised the mayor a safe return of Miss Bellum. They go to save Miss Bellum, and he stays to wallow some more in front of the fireplace. They go to Miss Bellum's house, and let me say, it's a really nice house. She gets paid very well. It's a house suited for a mayor like her. Buttercup scans the building and was able to locate them. They move in with the ransom money and finally confronts their ex-stepmother. They were surprised to see that Sedusa was the one tied up and Miss Bellum was the one who was able to do it. Blossom was trying to understand what happened and more importantly, how. Miss Bellum cut her off and said, details aren't important. All that matters is that she's safe and they could send that criminal to jail. She tries to dismiss them, saying that she once again had a long day. Blossom says, of course, and goes to help her. And almost immediately she says, psych, and tossed that lady across the room. Miss Bellum was confused and shocked that she would do such a thing. The girls then call her out saying, do you think we're dumb? You were at every crime scene. You happened to get kidnapped the same week, and you took down Sedusa by yourself with no issues. Bubbles then snatched her wig again and revealed that it was in fact Sedusa. Oh my god, who could have guessed? Now Sedusa trying to use the same tactic twice, but this time she tried to switch places with Miss Bellum, like Data's evil brother tried to do him. But unlike the Star Trek crew, the Powerpuff Girls were able to figure it out pretty much immediately. And right on cue, a fight breaks out. Remember when I said they jumped her last episode? Yeah, she ain't letting that happen again. She takes out Crash Out Bubbles first. Not only does she use her hair to fight, but she also has some of the strongest edge control in the world to hold them down. It's a brand new power of hers. Honestly, she doesn't even need to be a criminal. If she sold that edge control formula to the masses, she'd be a gazillionaire and a hero to the black community. But sadly, she thinks too small and just wants to rob banks. You could have had millions, girly. Anyways, Buttercup tries to free Bubbles from her hair gel, but she gets caught up too. She then apologizes to Bubbles for not being able to free her.
I got you, Bubbles. Buttercup, let go! Sorry, Bubbles.
I don't know why her apologizing made me sad, but it did. Probably because it's Buttercup and you know she don't say sorry for nothing, but she genuinely felt bad that she wasn't able to save her. Sedusa taunts them and then decides to go after Blossom last. Blossom was trying to free Miss Bellum and that angered Sedusa. She distracted Blossom with whatever those pink things were she threw at her before she used her hair to sneak up behind her and get her too.
Try picking those locks.
Sorry, guys. That's okay, Blossom.
Sedusa felt like this was an easy victory and debated on what to do with them now. Either quick torture or slow torture. So hard to choose.
My only dilemma is whether to finish you off quickly or do it painfully slow. But that would be splitting hairs.
But before she can enjoy her victory, Miss Bellum got out of her robe and basically told Sedusa to square up. Put him up. Sedusa was like, what you gonna do? If 3 heroes couldn't take me down, you don't stand a chance. Like, what you feeling like, Miss Bellum? But Miss Bellum, she didn't back down. She once again told her to run up if she's so sure.
You think you can beat me when your superheroes could not? Never!
Oh, yeah? Try me.
And we officially begin the hot girl fight of the century. Sedusa got her first licking and slapped the taste out of Miss Bellum's mouth. Even the girls felt bad for her.
Miss Bellum!
But right after, Miss Bellum pulled her down by her hair and gave her the 2-piece special. And then they just started throwing straight hands back and forth. Miss Bellum was getting tossed around the room and was sadly breaking all of her really nice furniture. Miss Bellum got her hits in, but Sedusa was whooping her ass. Miss Bellum then got real mad and tackled Sedusa into the pool. I'd be mad too if I had to refurnish my entire living room because you wanted to play these games. Miss Bellum tried to swim out, but Sedusa dragged her back into a water fight. They then started to fight underwater and man, they just went back and forth with each other, just hit after hit. Eventually, after getting kicked in the stomach, Sedusa had to come up for air. And when I tell you Miss Bellum dragged her ass back under that water and knocked her clean out, Miss Bellum said, if I don't get air, neither do you. She left Sedusa underwater to drown and finally got out of the water to catch her breath. Miss Bellum is truly the baddest on the block. Sedusa had her in the first half, but once she had her in that water, it was over. Miss Bellum, come get your baddie chain. You earned it. While Miss Bellum was catching her breath, Sedusa emerged out the water mad as hell. And I would be mad too if I got embarrassed like that. How you gonna let a normie, a normal woman, beat you up that bad? That was funny. She tried to do her hair attack, but surprisingly it didn't work. Sedusa was shocked and panicked that her hair wasn't moving. Sedusa then threw an entire fit and cried over her hair.
My hair! What happened to my hair? You broke my hair! Oh, my poor hair!
This is her equivalent of getting a horrible haircut. Honestly, relatable. I would be sad too if my hair was indeed that screwed up. Bellum then put together that her hair's weakness is water, and she used water to set the girls free. How are you a villain who don't know your own weakness? That is a major oversight. Because if I was a Powerpuff Girl, I would start carrying a spray bottle full of water wherever I go. And whenever she'll pop up, I'll just spritz her hair like holy water and watch her cry. It's a major weakness. Anyways, this fight was like engraved into my brain as a child, and it still holds up. The girls thank Miss Bellum for setting them free, and instead of retreating like any smart person, Sedusa still wanted to fight. But once she saw the Powerpuff Girls were free, she knew she was going to get jumped yet again. And once she saw those scissors in Bellum's hands, she fell to her knees and begged for mercy. She begged them to do anything but touch her hair. But you know what Bubbles says about mercy.
Oh, Bubbles, have mercy.
Mercy is for the weak!
Yeah, they did not care and they cut all of it off.
Let's finish this, shall we, girls?
Yes!
No, not that. Please, anything but that. No, please, no, stop, no, don't.
Honestly, that was pretty cold-blooded, but it was necessary. And we know the Powerpuff Girls loves a good hair cutting moment. Back at City Hall, the mayor was overjoyed with having her back, saying he would have spent $50 million to have her back. She asks how they were able to get all that money for the ransom, but they didn't have any money. It was just filled with dirty laundry. It was a fake out. And speaking of dirty laundry, the mayor asks if they should tell the girls about their little secret.
Don't you think we should let them in on our little secret? Huh?
He wanted to tell these children about the dalliance he has with his side piece. Diabolical. Bellum then explains to him that again it was Sedusa trying to seduce him and not her, because she would never touch him with a 10-foot pole. The mayor finally understood what she meant and he says, "Oh well," and then he starts to leave. And quick question, where do y'all think he went off to? Exactly, the penitentiary.
Where are you going?
To the prison! Visiting hours are almost over! Toodles!
The girls were as shocked as I was. He's married to his twin, yet he's off seeing his mistress in jail. This episode was incredibly wild and out of pocket, so naturally it was my favorite, and it still is my favorite because what happened? What is even going on? What do you mean you're going to go see your mistress? Hello? This is a kid's show. The seduction, the shameless cheating, the epic fight, the ruthless punishment all made this a top tier episode for me. The drama alone makes this episode so much fun to rewatch. I love it so much. This episode is another example of her doing what she does best, finding her prey, identifying his weakness, and using it against him. The mayor is a lustful cheater who hates his wife. He is the perfect target for her. He made it way too easy for her, even easier than the professor did. She hardly had to do anything. She would have gotten away with it if Miss Bellum wasn't a truly capable woman. I also love how Sedusa is able to make herself the perfect damsel in distress, even though we all know that she ain't no damsel. In both episodes, she weaponizes her tears and used it to manipulate those around her. In the first episode, it was the professor, but in this episode, she used her tear to manipulate the girls. She literally led them to the crime scenes and stayed behind to make sure they didn't find anything. And they had no idea it was her. Again, her downfall was her being overconfident. She already robbed 3 whole places scot-free. I'm sure she got millions of dollars in merchandise, but she had to do too much as usual. She wanted an extra $1 million, and she wanted to live her life out as Miss Bellum. If she would have just quit while she was ahead, she could have got away with it. But those meddling kids and Miss Bellum foiled her again. But hey, at least she got a dedicated visitor while she's in jail. The mayor was so smitten with her that he probably put money on her books. She could have some jail cookies or something. So while she may have lost her money, hair, and jewels, at least she didn't lose her sugar daddy. Knowing the mayor, he'll probably leave something for her in his will. Wouldn't that be a trip? Imagine the mayor dying and splitting all of his property between Mrs. Bellum and his mistress Sedusa. His poor wife, she ain't getting nothing. There were a few episodes in between this one and the last one I want to talk about where she made a few cameo appearances. These were minor cameos of her committing crimes. It was mostly flashbacks, background stuff, and small appearances, nothing of note. She disappeared from the series for quite a while. I was losing hope. I thought I'd never see my favorite villainess again. But then they decided to give her one last episode focused on her. One more chance to torture men, women, and children for her own personal gain. And that was in the episode Aspirations. The episode begins with the Powerpuff Girls patrolling Townsville at night. Buttercup was complaining about how boring it was, and Blossom told her that boring is good. That means the town is peaceful. Bubbles added for her to be careful what she wishes for. And while patrolling, they run into the Gangrene Gang just hanging out.
The Gangrene Gang? You wished for them? No, I thought you were over them. Why you gotta bring up old stuff?
I'm not gonna lie, that made me laugh so much because it's a reference to an episode where Buttercup had a crush on Ace. Buttercup wanted to go fight them unprovoked, but Blossom made the point that technically they aren't doing anything wrong. I mean, it never stopped them before, but hey, they probably learned their lesson. They leave to go stop a bank robbery, and once the gang saw them leave, Ace simply said, "It's on." They head out to the town hall. They break in, they got through all the security measures, and even managed to knock out a guard. Listen, I was shocked at the coordination and the precision. Usually the Gang Green Gang is a hot mess when it comes to executing crimes. When it comes to the villain ranking of the series, they're more of a comedic style of villains. They kind of do very juvenile things. They're not really taken that seriously, you know, like they're like middle tier. They're nowhere near the threat of him, Sedusa, or Mojo Jojo, but they're not as pathetic as the Anima boys. Basically, them being this coordinated and precise is extremely out of character for them. Usually they're just bullying somebody. They're hardly ever this clean. Anyways, they break into the mayor's office and steals a cane out of there. And for once, they executed a flawless plan from start to finish. They brought the cane to a secret location and presented this cane to our girl Sedusa. On their own, the Gang Green Gang is very juvenile, but for their queen, they're flawless. Somehow, some way, Sedusa convinced them to be her loyal followers, and she even trained them to be able to do missions like this for her. My girl is efficient. She started a whole cult.
My boys have done well.
Thanks to your training, my queen.
Indeed.
They present her with the mystic scepter of Cleopatra, and of course, she's planning on ruling the world. And the boys were happy to have a new queen.
You're the queen. Oh, yeah.
You! Quiet! Oh, we beg your forgiveness.
Excuse us. Sorry.
Do it again.
Our gang was down bad for her. This part of her plan was done, and now she wants to get her revenge on the Powerpuff Girls. Why? Well, of course, for cutting her hair off. Now this definitely was a little bit of a recon. Since the episode where they cut off her hair, we have seen her with her hair before this episode. But this episode acts like it took place right after the other one. Since the episode where we seen her hair get cut off, we have seen her with her hair grown back. But this episode wants to act like it took place right after she got her hair cut. They even showed the flashbacks of her hair getting cut, but whatever, it doesn't make sense, but who cares, it's a cartoon. She is kinda giving Heather though. Anyway, she gets flashbacks of her traumatizing night and swears revenge on what they did to her. The Gang Green Gang reassures her that she's still a baddie regardless of her hair. And I have to say, I never loved them more than this moment.
Oh, but you look hot.
Yeah.
Oh, you fine, girl. It doesn't really show.
Oh,
I know that's right. A bald beauty is still a beauty, and our boys agree. She thanks them and tells them to get rest for tomorrow. She's getting ready to destroy those big-headed kindergartners, and once she does, they're gonna get a reward. And by the way they melted into the floor, I can only assume the award is her. I don't know. I'm assuming. The next day, the mayor's asking the girls if they found his candy cane. Miss Bellum sighed, tired of his mess, and informed him that it was a scepter, not a candy cane.
It's a scepter. You're the one who thinks it's a candy cane.
It tastes so sweet.
The girls weren't able to find anything, not even a clue. It was a perfect heist. We heard this before. Blossom was trying to make sense on why someone would take it. Meanwhile, Buttercup is just throwing out accusations.
I'm telling you it was an inside job and he did it.
What? Why would I steal it, little girl?
The janitor tells Blossom what happened and was very snarky about it.
I was at my station, as always. Working!
Hey, whatever, pal.
And while he was talking, he took a sip of his coffee and fell asleep again. The girls make a plan to catch them tonight, and they went off to prepare. Later that night, they were scouting again. Once again, they see the Gang Green Gang hanging out and about. They instantly roasted them.
Probably looking for more home decor ideas in the dumpsters.
But then they say they have bigger fish to fry and leaves. Big mistake, huge. The gang pulls off another successful heist and was able to get her a special necklace. She was happy with their success and was also happy with how good she looked wearing it. Of course, they all agreed. She praised them for their hard work before talking about the final object they need to get. She told them to make sure that they look suspicious enough for the Powerpuff Girls to see and follow them. Ace asks why. They're so good at stealing stuff for her, so they don't understand why she wanted them to get caught this time. And she basically told him not to worry. She'll be ready for her revenge by then.
With the last item in hand, I'll be ready to exact my vengeance.
She promises their reward again in a more suggestive way, and they were down to do whatever she wanted. The next morning, the girls were with law enforcement with the same problem as before. Another perfect heist. They figured that the suspect will strike again tonight, and Blossom just so happens to know the place. They're stealing ancient Egyptian artifacts, so logically the next pit stop will be the museum. They spot the Gangrene Gang and were confused at first, but once they see them breaking in, they were shocked that a bunch of seemingly stupid criminals managed to pull off these heists. They break in, take the crown, and set off. They were so aggravated by this discovery that Bubbles wanted to run a fade immediately.
There you go. We blew it. It was them all along. We're idiots. Let's get them. Not yet.
But Blossom stopped them. Obviously, they're up to something, so she wants to trail them and figure out their plans first before she beats them up. Because you know, Blossom is also down to beat people up, but she has a little bit of a plan first. You know, our girl's a thinker. They present Sedusa with her crown, and finally she has the full set. Now she can get her revenge and rule the world. She got her hair back and the boys were mesmerized.
It's beautiful. Low-key, the Gangrene Gang is so wholesome in this episode. They were great loyal minions. In any normal episode, they're kind of annoying and obnoxious, but honestly, when it comes to being hype men, I give them 10/10 across the board. It's giving Ken has a good day when Barbie looks at him, and I love that for them. Anyways, Sedusa grew in size and immediately started to tear up the town.
Sedusa! That explains everything. And she's got snakes for hair. Asps! Very dangerous.
They had enough of Bubbles. The gang runs over to bow down to their new queen. They admire her destructive power. And what's so funny is Buttercup was so annoyed by this.
Typical guys see some curves, turn into gibbering idiots. Not like I care!
Like, calm down, Buttercup. You are a kindergartner. They're villains, not predators. You stood no chance, girly. The boys were down on bended knee like boys to men, cheering for their queen. They asked her for their reward and was ready to receive her love. And of course, she switched up on them immediately and told them to kick rocks.
My sweet boys, you pathetic fools! You served your purpose, now scram!
But Mommy loves us.
Sedusa was ruthless with them and tells them that they never mattered to her.
You're nothing to me. I used you like the losers you are.
They were so hurt that I almost, and I mean almost, for like a millisecond felt bad for them. Only just a little bit.
I never loved you. I got what I wanted, now I'm gone, baby! And so are you!
Yeah, that's tough, dude. She didn't have to kick him that hard, like, jeez, man. But hey, she's really earning that villain title. And I can respect a villain who out-villains other villains. Besides, manipulating gullible, dumb men is her bread and butter. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. This is her MO. The girls were trying to take her down, but with her new strength, she was taking them down. She hit them like baseball, she stepped on Bubbles, and she smacked the crap out of Blossom. She special beamed Cannon Buttercup. Our girls were struggling. She was whooping their little asses, and they're the whoop-ass girls, like hello? Her snakes were destroying Townsville, and I guarantee there was major casualties. They tried to mega blast her, but she ate it, doubled it, and sent it back. It was looking real hopeless until a few guardian angels came to help them out.
The tiara. It is the key. The one item that allows all the magic to work. Without it, the other items are useless, including the tiara itself. It's all
about the tiara.
It's always about the tiara!
Blossom was shocked that they would help them, but she didn't try to question it. She just thanked them and went back to fight. But before she left, Ace had one request for her.
Thanks, guys.
Blossom, bring her down for us.
Period. While Buttercup and Bubbles distracted her, Blossom knocked off her crown and poof, hair and powers gone. Just like that, she deflated like a balloon and then had the nerve, the audacity, the gall, the boldness to ask the boys for help.
Boys, help me. Mommy loves you, but this time we rule together. No lie, I mean it, really.
Gee, bet you wish you still had these, don't you, cow?
This episode is so out of pocket, I'm crying. Blossom said that with her whole chest. She said, cow. Like, goddamn. She was so sick of Medusa at this point, and I would be too. Like, Sedusa is my favorite villain to watch, but I would be so tired of dealing with her if I had to fight her in real life. Like, girl, go home. Sedusa gave them a bombastic side eye and still tried to sweet talk the boys into helping her. She promised to make their dreams come true, but the boys were rightfully not buying it.
Fool me once, shame on you. But fool me twice? No thanks! She's all yours, girls. Come on, guys. Let's hit some video games at the mini-mart.
Sedusa once again threw an entire fit on the ground. She once again swore revenge and promised she'd be back to get them, no matter how long it takes.
I will return again! I'll be back!
Oh, no, you won't, sister. 'Cause you're in jail!
Even the narrator was making fun of her. The girls were happy to have finally put Sedusa away and returned everything she stole. And that was the end of her personal journey on the show. She did one last appearance aside most of the villains in Townsville to search for the key to the world, but that was more of a cameo. This was her last meaningful appearance on the show, and she went out with a bang, an ending truly worthy of an evil queen she was. As usual, she was able to get what she wanted, but she let her ego get in the way. She had a group of perfect loyal minions that would do anything for her, but once she didn't need them, she discarded them. Her betrayal led to them turning on her, which ended up being her downfall. Sedusa had everything a villain could want, but her fatal flaw was her ego. In every appearance, she became overconfident when she thought she won, and each time it came back to bite her. Sedusa had the perfect potential to rule the underworld, but she just happens to be her worst enemy. Sedusa chose her victims very carefully. Loneliness tortured the professor. The mayor's lustful nature was easy to exploit. The gullible juvenile minds of the Gangrene Gang was easy to control. She dominated them, she emotionally manipulated them, and she used their desires to her advantage. You want my love? Steal from me. You want my company? Let me in your home. You need my attention? Then I need something in return. All of her relationships were transactional. She knew what they were desperate for, and she knew what role she needed to play for each of them. Whether it be the doting partner, the hot assistant, or the mother figure, she's able to do it all. And as she does, she embeds herself into their minds and eventually takes over their lives. She is a true chameleon. She's able to be anybody you want as long as you're able to get her what she needs. And once she's done with you, she'd throw you away without a second thought. The way she moves is so calculated and intentional. Sure, she has powers, but her ability to use human psychology against her victims is truly one of a kind. The way she plays into relationship dynamics is so creative and dangerous. You never know who she is, and for all you know, she's already planted herself into your life. Her manipulation tactics are so subtle that her victims don't even realize what's happening until she's already completely taken over their lives. It's truly masterful. I think that's why she's one of my favorite villains in the show. Her tactics are deeply psychological and is such an invasion of privacy, no Cardi B. Imagine letting your guard down, putting your full trust into somebody, only for them to have never cared about you at all. Even after she gets caught and sent to jail, her actions will have a lingering effects on her target's mentality. The silver lining is that maybe they could all learn some type of lesson from this. The mayor can learn to keep it in his pants. The professor can learn to listen to his children the first time. If your kids don't like who you're dating, maybe it's worth listening to why they don't like them. And if your kids are being treated unfairly, it's your job as a parent to protect them. Sure, they're superheroes, but they're still little girls who have to respect authority. And the professor let them down by not being careful enough who he lets into his home. And the Green Gang, well, they ain't learning nothing. They are dumb as hell. They ain't gonna learn nothing from this. But it's fine, I don't really expect them to. But the point is, there is a lesson in being careful with who you trust. And always be mindful of what somebody's asking of you. Manipulation can be so subtle that you don't even realize it until it's already happening. And people like Sedusa will take advantage of that. Sedusa is a beautiful villain who uses her beauty and wit to outsmart everyone. She uses her beauty to have weak-minded men doing her bidding. She uses her disguises to become anyone, and she uses her skills to pull off some of the most perfect heists. She is an actress who can become exactly who you wish she was, and she uses that to lure her victims into a false sense of trust and security. And once she gets what she came for, she leaves you faster than you can process what's happening mentally. She doesn't just crush people physically, but she also does psychologically, and the mental scars she leaves behind won't fade as easily. Not only did she master the art of manipulation, but she also mastered the art form of seduction. Why else do you think lust is a deadly sin? Because for lust, people will do unimaginable things or think of things they never thought they would have done otherwise. The vulnerability involved with seduction makes it so much more personal than other forms of manipulation. Lust can cloud your judgment, influence your actions, and for some, can push them towards crimes. It can turn people into villains they don't even recognize. Lust is a powerful weapon when it's wielded by a socially intelligent person. And unfortunately for them, Sedusa is as brilliant as they come. Why do you think having a showmance in Big Brother is such a big advantage? With enough intelligence and social understanding, seduction can be used to manipulate anyone. And in the wrong hands, longing can become self-destructive. And that is the true power of Sedusa. I always loved Sedusa. I loved how pretty she was, how smart she was, and how funny she was. I mean, just look at her, the hair, the heels, the leotard with the fishnets and the boots. It's giving fashionista. Not to mention her ruthless approach to crime was so much fun to watch. She was mean, she was cutthroat, which makes her an excellent villain. She doesn't have much screen time, but her presence in the show always stuck with me. And looking back, I can clearly understand why. I'm an adult now, and I love her just as much as I did when I was a kid. Even more actually. She did what needed to be done, and she did it in heels. The show would refer to her with such reductive language. They call her a Jezebel, naughty, a seductress. But I would call her cunning, intelligent, diligent, resourceful, and thorough. She didn't need brute strength or tech to take over the world. She just needed her wit and a few willing participants to do the dirty work for her. She is the queen of working smarter and not harder. Sedusa has many faces. She's a master of disguise and manipulation, and even though she only had a few episodes, she made her mark in the show as a villain regardless. And the ability to make yourself stand out in a show full of villains takes true talent. So, here's to Sedusa, the Femme Fatale of Townsville. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys had fun with this video. I don't usually do videos on the Powerpuff Girls, but I really wanted to do one for Sedusa for some reason, and I wanted this video to just be fun. I also want to do one for him, so that's a possibility. Anyways, feel free to tell me who your favorite villain is in the show and why they're your favorite. I can't wait to hear it. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!